BlackMagic always announces great cameras. I love BlackMagic cameras, and they just announced the Pocket Cinema Camera 2 4K. But they say, oh, look at this price tag, it's $1,200. But what does it actually cost? Like what about if you need batteries and media, which it does not come with, and then lenses as well, right? Now maybe you have all those things, so the cost would actually be $1,200. What I did was I made a cart on B&H, and I decided what would it actually cost? So I have a couple different breakdowns that I wanted to walk you guys through, and so you can kind of get an idea of like, hey, this is the actual cost of this camera. Okay, so here you can see my cart, and in my cart, I obviously have the BlackMagic Design Pocket Cinema Camera 4K. Again, a mouthful. And then I said, okay, you need batteries, and these are the batteries that they recommended. And they're the Watson, so they're the off-brand of the Canon LP6. Basically the ones used for the 5D, which are kind of expensive, but these ones are a little cheaper. And they say they last about a half hour a piece in the camera, depending on what you're shooting. I would guess that's probably pretty accurate. You're gonna get about a half hour of life out of each one of these batteries. So my thought is, half hour per battery, you probably need 10 batteries. So I got 10 of them, that would last me 5 hours. And then I bought a dual charger for $79, which would allow me to swap the batteries as I go. I can be charging 2 at a time, so that if I wanted to last a 12-hour day, 10 batteries should be able to last me a 12-hour day as long as I'm able to swap the batteries. And then on top of that, if you want to shoot RAW, you're gonna need at least 128 gig memory card, which would give you 9 minutes of RAW on the Ursa Mini at 4K lossless RAW. That's Ultra HD. So I would say 9 minutes is like hardly any time. You're definitely gonna need minimum a 128 gig card. And then if you're gonna have a 128 gig card, you're gonna have to have at least 2, so you can be dumping one while shooting on the other. The SD cards, and you wanna shoot ProRes, it's a little cheaper. So if you're not shooting RAW, you could probably get away with just doing the SD cards, which is only $300 versus $600. So pretty big difference there. And you can get 2 of them, so you have 2, 1 shooting and 1 dumping. Finally, you're gonna need a CFast card reader. But if you do the SD cards, and you have like an iMac or something, you don't need an SD card reader necessarily. But if you have the new stupid MacBook Pro, and you have to have frickin' dongle city, then you're gonna have to buy a dongle for that. But you probably already have that. I'm not gonna add that to the cart. So your total cost for this camera in real dollar amount is more like $3 grand. It's closer to $3 grand. And that is just the bare minimum, obviously without lens. I'm assuming that you have a lens, but if you don't have a lens, we'll talk about that in just a second. Yes, the camera itself is $12.95, but for any sort of usable camera, you're gonna be looking at like $3 grand, which still isn't that bad. Like, it really isn't. And now I wanna add a couple things to this cart that I would get if I were going to get this camera. So I like SLR Magic. SLR Magic sells some really good lenses that are micro four thirds that have the declicked aperture and everything like that. So they got the 35, they got a 50, 25.95, which is incredible. So here we go. Let's do this one. 10 millimeter and a 25 millimeter. Now on the Pocket Cinema camera, that's gonna crop in almost 2 times. And so your 10 millimeter is more like a 20 and your 25 is more like a 50. Now they say the sensor's slightly bigger, so it won't be quite as much of a crop as the old Pocket Cinema camera, but let's add those to the cart. That's $900 right there. And then obviously you're gonna need ND filter. So there you go. Here it is. You got the camera, the batteries, the media, the battery charger, the SD card, 2 lenses, and the neutral density 0.9 gives you 3 stops, and that is $4 grand. So there you go. The Pocket Cinema camera, if you're buying it from scratch, you're probably looking at a price tag of between 4 and 5 grand, depending on the lenses you get. Now, granted, I am buying the SLR Magic lenses that are a little bit on the lower end of cost, but they're still decent lenses. Anyway, that kind of gives you a basic overview of what it would actually cost to buy this camera. I hope this was helpful. I hope this was anything that you guys even cared about. I mean, you clicked on the video, so that's on you. That's on you. And you watched this long too. Like you could just stop watching at any time, because that's the joy of YouTube. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe and check out my other videos. Thanks guys, appreciate it. I really do. I think it is me happy. Kidding. There's a lot of things that make me happy. But definitely checking out equipment online is just fun. I love pricing out stuff. Yeah, $4 grand. Get yourself a stellar camera. Stellar. Anyway.